One of the questions I often get asked is, what is a soul friend and how do I find one? And actually there are two questions rather than one. And so I'd like to address the first part of that question. What is a soul friend? And I normally find myself going back to scripture with this, and one scripture in particular, which is Philippians 2:20. In Philippians 2:20, you've got a conversation really by the Apostle Paul referring to Timothy, who is one of his young disciples. And he uses a phrase. He says, I have no one else of kindred spirit who will genuinely be concerned for your welfare. The phrase kindred spirit is interesting. It's in the New Testament Greek, it literally means equal souled. And in some translations they use the phrase like-minded. That word suke, which means soul, is much deeper than just our thought life. It's the animating force within us. It's our passions, our desires, our aspirations. It's the thing that causes us to discover our true self. And so therefore a soul friend helps us navigate that internal landscape that affects our external world. And that means it's important about who, why, and how we choose a soul friend. And so I actually think it's important that we have criteria for how to do that and a good system for review and assessment. In the ancient world, there were three kinds of soul friendship, and often we have a stereotype or a best case scenario that we have in mind that can sometimes be a blockage for us finding a soul friend. In the ancient practice, they had three kinds. They had the spiritual father and mother type, which is great. They also had a second kind named a confessor, who helped you navigate a difficult season or challenging season in life. And the third kind was a peer mentor, someone that we want to learn from and has a synergy of purpose. Perhaps they have a strength that we could grow in because of their example. And so when choosing a soul friend and finding a soul friend, there are some things that are good to recognise. What season are we in? What kind of soul friendship are we looking for? And make sure that we're asking ourselves important questions before we go into this kind of relationship. So here are some key questions to ask. What's my motivation for looking for a soul friendship? Another question would be, have I got a realistic or an unrealistic view of what soul friendship can offer? Maybe we need to ask, can I discern who is a good soul friendship, good soul friend for me? And then perhaps finally, can I put healthy boundaries in place if I do enter into this kind of friendship? So it's good to ask these questions, to not rush into this kind of relationship, to be aware of what the purpose of soul friendship is, really to help us discover our true self, to help us find a way of life that's who we are and who we're called to be. And I would suggest that perhaps when you're looking for a soul friend, test the waters. Don't agree or commit to something too quickly. Perhaps if you have someone in mind, meet with them, spend some time with them and explore these questions, explore our motivations, and then see how that works. And then build in a review process where you can think about how well is this working. So I hope that's helpful. This will be a series of short talks, which I will call Snapshots of Soul Friendship. I hope that's beneficial. See you again.